This is the Creative Market Free Goods Roundup for the week of April 6th, 2015. There are 6 different free goods this week, but they are free this week only. So be sure to check out the description on this video if you want to pick any of these up. So first up here is Photosnap Business Card. This is a square business card layout provided in Photoshop format. So I have the front opened right here, and this is the back version if I turn that on very quickly. And the overall size of the square logo, if I go to image, canvas size, it's 630 pixels, which converts into 2.1 by 2.1 inches. And it does have this little layer at the top here that shows you the safe area, which is in light blue, as well as the bleed or trimming zone, which is in this pink color right here, so you can turn that on or off. They did do a nice job of laying out all these different guides to let you know where to place your work. And all the type included in this business card layout is fully editable, so I don't have these fonts installed on my computer right now, but there is a text document included in the download that gives you links of where you can go ahead and download these different fonts. So if you want to change this to be something else, this might break as I'm doing it, but it's actually looking pretty good here. You can go in and change all the different details that you'd want to change. And it does include also, there's this logo, if I turn back on this front layer right here, included with this set. But if your photography business or design business isn't called Photosnap and you want to change it to be something else, they did include the basic layouts right here for both a dark version as well as a light version. I actually think this included logo layout has a pretty cool idea behind it, but I'm guessing most people will probably just swap out the included logo here for whatever they have already made for themselves. But if you do want to just reuse this logo in a slightly different fashion, this type is also live, so you can change it up as you see fit. But a nice simple square business card layout right here with both front and then back. And square business cards aren't quite all that common, so this one might set you apart if you're looking for something a little bit different than a typical rectangular one. And it's also nice seeing that they spent the time properly gridding these out and making these really easy to understand with a nice clear layer structure. But if you've been wanting to make a new business card but you didn't quite know where to start, this might be a good resource to get some ideas from, so just be sure to pick it up this week while it's still free. Next up is Cartoon Vectors. This is a pack of stylized cartoon vectors in both EPS and Illustrator format. So I have the Illustrator file opened up here, and basically what you see is what you get. There's this nice set of different vector cartoon style badges, banners, and elements to choose from. And I also think the color palette that they picked out works really well together. And I think my personal favorite part of this pack is this little section right here with these various punctuation marks and then the and signs. I think they're really well executed. It's a pretty fun looking font. I even think if this person made a font based on these letters, that would be a really cool thing to have as well. But this is a pretty straightforward pack here. All these elements should work really well if you have a nice cartoon style font you want to overlay on top of them, or even if you want to place your own custom made type on top of it, that might have a really cool appearance as well. But that's about it for this one. I think this is a pretty versatile pack because it does have things like banners, speech bubbles, and then different dividing elements and special characters for you to use. You should be able to create a whole bunch of different types of layouts out of this, and hopefully you'll find this pretty versatile. But if you think you might have use for these either now or in the future, be sure to pick this up this week. Next up is Flat Responsive Apple Web Mockups. This is a collection of different illustrated Apple mockups, and they're all provided in Adobe Photoshop format, and there's 10 of these files, just like this one included. So I opened up 4 of the different ones, just so you can get a little bit better idea of what you can expect when you actually download this pack. And here's the last one of the 4 right here. I'm just going to go back to the first one here so you can see how these work. So inside of these different folders, for example, iPhone 6, there are 2 different folders, one dark and then one light, as you can tell right here. So it's really easy to pick whichever one you want to use. And then inside those folders, there's a layer called Your Screenshot that if you double click on, it'll bring you up to this new window that you can place your artwork into to be mocked up. And it's also very handy that they included the different pixel dimensions for all these different layouts. So this one's 1334 by 750. I went ahead and just stuck this image in here as an example. So all you got to do to make these apply is save the smart window that's opened up when you double click on that layer and then close it. And then when you go back into the mockup layer right here, you can tell that it automatically applied this in there and did all the work of sizing it and cropping it, all that fun stuff. So it's really quick and easy to go in there and do that. And of course you can rearrange these things if you want to do that. So don't feel like you're locked down to the pre-made layouts. You can go ahead and move these around or turn off different elements so you can customize these to suit your needs. But a very cleanly illustrated pack of different Apple device mockups. And like I said before, I just opened up 4 of these different ones since I think it gives a really good general overview of what's included here, but there are 10 in total. So this one should keep you busy for quite a while. But if you think you'll have use for these, be sure to pick this one up this week while it's still free, and hopefully you'll get a whole lot of use out of it. Next up is DW OnePage Retro WordPress Theme. So this is a one-page WordPress theme, and it is responsive as well, so it should look good no matter what kind of device you're looking at it on. And I'll just scroll down here so you can see what's included in this. So up at the top here, there's an introducing section where you can kind of call out what you do or what your business does. And as you go down a little bit more, there's the portfolio section. And if you hover over these images, they turn from black and white into color, so that's kind of a nice transitional effect there. And if I click on one of these different portfolio items, it brings up a lightbox page, as you see right here, where it brings up a nice larger image, spots for stuff like client, and then the skills used, used, as well as plenty of room for descriptive text here at the bottom. And if I keep on scrolling down here, there's a team section for different team members or yourself. Once again, if you highlight over these different images, they'll go from black and white into color. And then there's room for title, description, as well as social icons below each person. There's a blog section below that. Same as the portfolio, if I click on one of these, it brings up a light box with room for a lot of type and then a nice larger image. This one also includes a category for the actual blog post itself. If I go down a little bit more, there is a testimonial section where you can post some feedback from your clients. And at the very bottom here, there is the contact section with the typical name, email, and then I like that they added in budget and time frame. That can be useful information when you're getting back to people, as well as message. A map here at the bottom that doesn't appear to be interactive. In the bottom right hand corner here, there's a little up arrow. If you click it, it'll just shoot you back up to the page here. And at any time, you can use this top navigation menu, so you can hit portfolio or team or blog, and it will automatically scroll you to those sections. So that's a nice little touch. But this is a very clean one-page WordPress theme that I think if you run a small design business might come in super handy. And I think a lot of the choices in the textures used in the backgrounds, as well as the colors and dividing elements like this little dash line right here, do a really good job of pulling off a pretty cool vintage aesthetic. So if you think this theme might come in handy to you, be sure to pick it up this week while it's still free. Next we have 3 wood textures. So this product's pretty straightforward. It contains 3 wood textures in a simplified artistic style, just like the one shown right here. And the formats are EPS and then PNG with the background included, and then transparent background PNGs. So I think the ones with the transparent backgrounds might come in a little bit more useful when you're actually using them. But I have the EPS versions opened up in Adobe Illustrator here to show it. So there are 3 in total. There's this one, and then this one, which is a little bit more simple with this kind of cool pattern in the middle here. And then this is the final one. And vector textures are always super useful since you can size them as big or as small as you want. You won't have to worry about losing any quality. And I think this simple stylized style works really well. It's pretty well executed. When I zoom in a little bit closer here, you can get a good idea of how the actual line quality looks up close. Everything looks pretty good from my end. I think this is a pretty well executed, simplified wood texture here. And some possible ideas for these, at least how I would use them, is I would place them over simple type or perhaps simple silhouettes, just to give them a pretty unique and interesting texture. But these could also work really well as background textures if I just highlight this really quick and then change it to be a little bit more tonal version of this background right here. Hopefully it looks at least somewhat decent. You can kind of see how you can add a very subtle but slight texture to the background of whatever you're working on, perhaps place a silhouetted image or some type over the top of this. So definitely go in there and play around with it and see what you can come up with. But that's it for this texture pack. If you think any one of these 3 different textures look useful to you, be sure to pick it up this week. And last up is Marima typeface. So this is actually a really big pack, a lot more than just a font. So the font is shown right here, and those are provided in both OpenType as well as web font formats. But also included in this download are different bonus elements, like these bicycles right here in vector format. There's some graphic styles, which I'll go into in just a second, and then this nice big page of ornaments. So I'll just check out the different ornaments here really quickly. As you can tell, they all have a very simple hand-drawn line style to them, and I think they're executed very nicely. They should work pretty well with this font when you actually use them in combination with it. So if you're looking to create a full layout using the font provided here, I think these will come in really handy. They have a very nice style to them, and they're executed in a very nice, simple style. So I think that should make them very versatile for use in the future. This element right here at the bottom is my favorite of the different elements here. I think it's a really cool symmetrical design. But back to the font here, I'll go over that very quickly. So as you can tell here, it has different variations for lowercase as well as uppercase. Although all the letters do appear to be uppercase when you look at them, the actual uppercase letters are much larger and they have much larger flourishes on them. So the lowercase letters are right here. As you can tell, they are very cleanly executed. And there's a lot of different really nice special features in this font that I'll go over in just a little bit here that kind of take this font to the next level when you're actually using it. And here's the uppercase ones. I really like the style of these uppercase letters. I think they have a lot of style and personality to them. So just the font alone makes this pack worth picking up in my opinion. But as I showed before, there is a lot of extra bonus elements included that really make this a must-have download if you enjoy this style. Also included are all the expected numbers and then a lot of different special characters. So if I select the type here and then go to type and then glyphs, you can see everything that's included. There's a really nice and diverse selection of different letter forms here. So be sure to check all those out, especially if you're looking for different accent marks and stuff like that. And at the very bottom here, I've typed up Free Goods Roundup so you can see how this looks when it's actually written out. I think it looks pretty solid. The stock kerning looks pretty good. You might want to tighten up a few things, but overall I think this looks quite nice. And also I'm going to show a few different special features with this particular font. So for example, if I start typing out the word free, and I'll just zoom in a little bit closer here so you can see what's actually happening. As you can tell, when I type just the F and the R has this nice swirling element right here, but as soon as I put an E, it automatically changes to accommodate for that E. So there are different glyphs that will automatically change depending on what you're typing. So if I type up RUN, right here, you can tell that the N has this swooping filigree at the top, but as soon as I add in that D, it removes that added element so that these letters work better together. So that's a really cool touch with this font, and I think overall this font has just a lot of style and a lot of personality that make this a definite pickup in my book. But then there's these bicycle illustrations as well that are very nicely executed. Nice and simple vector illustrations right here. And then the graphic styles, I'll go over how to use these very quickly. So when you open up this file, you want to go to Window and then Graphic Styles. It's near the top here. And once you do that, right here is my graphic styles window on the side. If I highlight over this type that says try this and I apply these different graphic styles, you can see that it applies nice and simple graphic styles to these, or this white version right here, I'll apply that one. So these are also included, so that's a nice bonus, and I think these will work very nicely with the included font here. And like I said before, there are also these bonus ornaments. So all in all, this pack is a pretty awesome deal for free. I would definitely recommend picking this one up this week while you still can, and hopefully if you do pick it up, you'll find it as cool as I did. So that's it for this week's free goods, and do remember they are free this week only. So if you saw anything you liked, be sure to check out the description of this video where you will find a link to download each one of these 6 different items. And as always, if you found this video helpful, please like and favorite. And if you saw anything you really liked, you can leave a comment about it. And if you want to see these videos every week, please subscribe. This video is released every Monday to let you know it's free this week on Creative Market. Thank you for watching.